Welcome to the Roadshow podcast.
I feel like I've chose the mug to match my jacket. Or
yeah, you've done
hoodie.
that. You've done camouflage.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to be in the military. So,
Yeah?
if you were drinking...
Sorry for the nudity.
if you were drinking that in, like, on a hill, wouldn't be able to see anything.
One of my
that gold watch would be the only thing. It would go, toong, you get a fucking round thing off it.
Ding. Oh my! One of my guys had a camouflage party, took a group photo, and we're all in camouflage, and literally like photoshopped out everybody that was like every part of camouflage.
That's funny.
It's so
That's
stupid.
funny.
It's so stupid.
That's like a lot of effort too.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
It
I
took
like
him like 3 hours.
being a comedian. I like funny stuff.
Yeah.
And I like commitment to a gag. And like the pure shitness of that gag
Yeah.
has made it so good about the amount of effort that's been put in to making it that shit. Yeah. You know, I would have said that would took me like 3 hours to do it. I'm like, dude, that's funny as. That's shit. But because if you just had it like
You're never getting that 3 hours back.
dude, you do an app that does it and you send it to the group chat. I'm like, I might give it a thumbs up. I might give it a laugh emoji, but I'm not laughing out loud.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you actually put 3 hours into it. I'm like, you did this?
Yeah.
You're a fucking dickhead.
That
I like
sticks
it.
with you for a day.
Oh, man.
For
yeah.
sure.
It's like, yeah, you should really get a job.
Yeah. Yeah. Stop sending us shit with it.
Contribute. Yeah.
It's weird when it comes from a dude that's like a Boilermaker or something.
Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what a Boilermaker is, but I know like heaps of people I went to school became them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, are they making boil? I don't know, man. Like, what are you?
That's a good point.
It's
Where does
steel.
that term come from?
It's steel, right?
I'm
sounding pretty privileged.
It's
right now.
it's
Is it
all
steel?
metals, I'm pretty sure. But I think the boil,
Are they melting steel?
yeah, it comes from melting two pieces together. So there's a puddle that gets created with the
Are
heat.
they welders?
They're welders.
Why don't they just call them
Be a lot easier.
that?
But they make boils.
On their hands.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, fuck, hard work.
Oh, that could be another part of it.
You reckon? Like on their back from all the sparks.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't work with my
There was
hands
this one
anymore.
dude I know that got a fucking spark down his shirt.
Wow.
Burnt his dick.
No way.
Yeah,
Burnt
because he was
his dick.
sitting down and it went all the way down to his pants.
Jesus, that guy should really... That's unlucky.
Yeah, oh, you reckon?
That's worse than getting shit on by a bird. Oh, wait, no, they say that's lucky.
Yeah. Especially if he's German.
That's good marketing, that, hey? Someone early on got shit on by a bird, and they were like, bloody lucky, hey? And they're like, yeah, I guess now you mention it.
Yeah.
Just got it early. Just change the message. You know what I mean? Like, oh, my day's ruined. No, mate.
It's luck.
It's bloody lucky.
Yeah.
That could have hit the floor.
True.
And then you're like, oh, yeah, great.
True.
Ingenuity.
You got worm feces on you.
That's Boilermaker.
It's moving still. You got parasites, but it's lucky.
That's making a boil. How's this podcast going? This is an amazing setup. I don't know if anyone here is listening. I don't know if we're going to cut in here or not. This is the magic of showbiz.
This could be.
But like, I've done a lot of podcasts being a comedian. You pop on them and like, you never know what you're going to get.
Right.
Like sometimes you walk around and they're like, yeah, cool. We'll just talk into this like can on another string to like another
Pull it
can.
tighter, bitch.
Yeah, well, they won't be able to hear it. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, my career's going well. I'll just tell mum that, like, it's all well. And then you walk into a situation like this and you're like, hey, this person's, like, really put in the effort. I appreciate this as an artist. This is fantastic.
Awesome.
What was the genesis behind it? What made you do all this? Because I'm sitting in effort and I like effort. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I like being with people who put in effort.
Yeah.
Because like you surround yourself with those people and you're just going to fly.
That's how it goes, yeah.
I'm currently sitting in a lot of effort. What made you do the effort?
The effort came from probably an addiction to progression.
Okay.
Yeah, so when it hit, I should probably bleep that fucking word out.
Why?
Because
we don't talk about it anymore. It's like Voldemort.
No, YouTube like fucking down regulates your algorithm if you talk about it.
Do they?
Yeah, those motherfuckers.
Is YouTube like China or something? Is that what's happening? Or can you say that word? Or is it
Probably
all
not.
C words?
Yeah, it's all C words. Can't everything.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
But it came from the heightened state of the pandemic, and when it was all going off, I had like all this time on my hands and people that wanted to come and, because I'm a music producer as well.
Yeah.
I had all this time to produce, and then I got sick of that, of doing it like every single day for 12, 13 hours a day.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just want to talk, man.
Oh, talking is amazing. It's, having conversations is, Oh, it's enriching.
Yeah.
I do them every day. It's fantastic. And meeting new people. I listen to other people's conversations in my ears while I'm doing things. Like, it's just
It's strange, right?
well, it's all, like, I think what the podcast has done through the, the emergence of the internet is taken kind of like the world's first form of entertainment. And then, like the fireplace.
That's a good point.
Is now everywhere.
Right.
Because we used to go, like, when I say we, I mean like humans.
Everyone.
Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years ago, it used to be like when language was just emerging, when we had like 6 words and one of them was like, oh, like we were like,
so glad
how's your day? How's your day?
Oh.
Like, tell me more. Like, I'm interested in your upbringing. Yeah. But like, that's how it all started, and now we're just doing that again, but in a different format. And in another 100,000 years, I don't think, the game's not going to change. The way that we connect isn't going to change. It's just the format's going to be different.
Yeah.
Because if you had told the Romans about this, they would have fucking lost their minds, right? And then in 100,000 years, what could you have told us that would just blow our minds now? It's super interesting. I like the fact that we're just stuck in a cycle of connection.
It's almost eavesdropping.
Yep.
But like the other person's aware, so they're making it more entertaining for you. Right?
Yeah.
Because back in the day, like you'd probably have to listen in real closely, or it'd like get around a radio or something.
Yeah.
But radio became weird, didn't it?
There's a really funny article, like, because every generation thinks the one before is fucked. Right. So there was this, I was reading a newspaper article that came out when the radio came out.
Right.
And it essentially had words to the effect of like, this generation's fucked. All they do is sit around the radio and listen to the baseball. They're not out there playing the baseball. And then it's like, it's that same message is just continuing through society, right? Like people my parents' age are just like, you guys are fucked, you're always on your phone. And it's like, and then like we're going to be like, you're fucked, you're always on your hologramic sort of like brain device. And then those kids are going to be like, when I grew up, we had hologram brain devices. What do you got now? Nothing, you're just energy. But it's just got to keep going, right? We don't change. It's just the way we do it changes, right? So this person who wrote this article just go, I got to get this message out about the radio. It's got to be the downfall of all of us. And then like, yeah.
Damn.
Right?
That's really, really interesting.
It's the same shit over and over again, right?
It
like
is.
my parents, right, are fucking smart people. But only just recently have I just figured out that they're kind of losing touch. Do you know what I mean? Like, like my mum got a message and it was like a scam. It was like, hey, Mum, my phone's broken. You know that one that's kicking around?
Yeah.
And then...
she didn't click?
Nah, but then I rock up to like her place a couple of weeks later. She's like, how's your phone? And I'm like, it's fine. Why? What's up? She's like, it's broken. And I was like, it didn't didn't make any sense. And then like an hour later, I was like, hang on, wait, did you get the scam message? And she got it out. And I'm like, why didn't you fucking help me? Because she thought it was me, but didn't transfer the person any money.
I sorted it out.
So I'm like, she's like, oh, that's tough. So not only did she fell for the scam, but didn't execute it.
Yeah.
So in her mind, she thinks it's me, but didn't help me, the cunt, right? So she's like, oh, well, he's at it again. Like my grandfather, right, was like, my grandparents were one of the greatest generations to live, man. Like he fought in a war. He came back, he had 8 kids, man. Couldn't pull out of a fucking driveway. Like, it just, like, no condom, no nothing. Just, like, one after another. A decade of just, like, pumping out kids, right? Built a house with his bare hands. And then, like, we got him, like, a smartphone for Christmas. And it just fucked him, right? Like,
really?
He's like, why are these icons wiggling? And we're like, this guy's a bloody moron. You know
He's about to delete all this shit.
What? That's going to happen to us one day. Like sooner or later, like there's going to be something in technology that just leaves us behind. Do you know what I mean? Like the fucking kids, like sooner or later, they're going to put this shit into our brain, into like social media, like your bank and everything's just going to be in your like neural cortex, right? The kids would be crushing it. Like in 2060, kids would be just like blinking and making TikToks, you know what I mean?
The first old guy that's going to have that though, that video on YouTube is going to get like 170 million views.
Imagine when like sooner or later, someone's going to be able to scam us. Like they'll just send a message to our brain. Like we'll just get a thought and it'll just be like send me $10,000 or I'll fucking send you down to Coles and yell out the N-word. You're like, fucking what?
Holy shit.
You're like, dude, I'm transferring that cash.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be the worst thing you can say. By then.
What if they just make everything dark?
As in.
Like just turn off your opticals. Like, good luck.
Hey, wait. My eyes are shut. I can't open them. What's going on? You're like, well, we're going to reset your password. We sent you an email. We're going to confirm that. You're like, well, I can't fucking see your leg. My leg's struggling. Can I just talk to a human?
Please.
I just want to talk to a human.
Yeah, that's what it's kind of like now when you're left on hold and you're talking to robots.
So sooner or later, you're going to be like talking to a robot. You're like, dude, can I just talk to someone from India? Like, this is good.
I'd rather struggle.
Can I just talk to a Pakistani guy, man?
Please.
Like, please.
Oh, dude. What if the robots have Pakistani fucking accents?
Pakistani robots.
Hello. I can't. That's so racist. I'm not doing that.
Robotic Pakistani.
Yeah.
That's a crazy Venn diagram. What's in the middle of Pakistan and robot? You know what I mean?
Oh, shit. Worst cricket players ever.
They're terrible.
Did you see that video of the Pakistani dude that goes to, I think they call it catching an out, but he doesn't. He catches it just as it's about to go for a 4. I don't follow cricket.
Yeah, sounds it too. Yeah.
And he goes over the line with it in his hands, and he goes to throw it over, and it hits his shoe and comes back.
So he goes, bounce, catches it, goes to throw it in, but his foot somehow is like
legs are in the air,
midair.
Yeah, legs are in the air, and hits his foot and gets a 6 for them.
Wicked. I mean, try get a robot do that.
Yeah, no shit, no shit.
Because that robot's just gonna catch it, and like it's not even gonna. It's not going to cheat. It's not even going to like celebrate wildly.
No.
It's just going to sit there, crush the ball with its extreme strength.
Yeah, it's a screen for a face and just fireworks on the screen. Just like a hell mid-robot.
I want to die.
I was born to kill humans. Why am I playing cricket?
I'm all for the robot revolution, man. Like, bring it on. Yeah, fucking oath.
Do you reckon would you integrate?
Yeah. Like, what's my other option? But like, what is seriously my other option?
Yeah.
Like, die or get like left behind or just like, what do you mean? Of course I am.
I feel like at this point in like history, we've basically got 2 like lines to stand in: either integrate or suck Bill Gates' dick. And I feel like the line is going to be fucking 0 for Bill Gates' dick because that cunt's a piece of shit.
How about suck? I'd rather integrate, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean. Depends how many beers I've had, but
yeah, it's all up
6
to the
beers,
day.
So I'm not integrating.
Yeah, fuck this.
I'm getting along, sucking some dick, letting that shit out. I used to be in the military, and so the military is always like at the forefront of like technological sort of like they do a lot of testing and all that sort of stuff. So obviously,
what year
was I in?
Yeah,
I was in from 2005 to 2012.
Ooh, that's a stint.
It was a busy period too. There was a lot going on.
yeah. Bit more chill now.
Yeah, it depends where you live, I guess.
Yeah.
Ukraine, busy. Busy. Those guys are flat out. Yeah.
Is there any Australian soldiers in the Ukraine?
Yeah. But like, because they've got a foreign legion, right? So you can just volunteer.
Yeah.
There's a heaps of mad dogs over there.
Fuck.
Yeah. And they just because this is a common misconception about the military is that everyone in's just like, oh yeah, I want to do a good thing. Like a few of them are psychos, right?
Yeah.
And they're in it for the game.
There's going to be 1 in 100.
They're like, where's the game at now? We're going to Ukraine. Cool, we're on here. You know, like so. That's fun for them.
Yeah.
It's good to have an outlet. Bit of war. And they're good at it too, right?
Yeah.
But drones are super prominent in that conflict. So one of my jobs in the military was to call in artillery fire, mortar fire, so indirect fire support. So you find something you want to blow up, you look at it through some binoculars and you go, I want to drop some bombs on that. You do like a mathematical equation and you blow it up. Whoa. Fun. Like, it's wicked, right?
That's crazy.
You ever blown something up?
No.
It's the best.
Only some pussy.
Me too. So I saw this pussy and I had some binoculars.
Big pussy.
Firing dildos, blah, 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 blah. So that's a good job. That's quite fun.
That is wild.
Now, if you're on the other side of that, right, and you're like, bombs are coming in, you're like, fuck. We're getting indirect fire support. One of the main things you would do is try find where the spotter is. That's who's calling it in. And you would then like put fire on that position so that person has to move and then it stops the fire coming in.
Okay.
Now, essentially what you do my job, if I was doing it in the Ukraine now, is I would sit back in a nice little position. I'd drop a a drone into the air with a high definition 4K camera, and I'd sit back on my phone and I would like call this artillery fire in. Whoa. So then it protects the fire, and that's just happening, you know, everywhere. There's literally planes with bombs on it that don't need people in them. There's unmanned planes. Yeah, that's already happening.
Whoa.
There's vehicles that have...
Are you saying 9/11 was an inside job?
I'm saying 9/11 was a robot job. That was robot Pakistanis. They're back.
That's beautiful.
It's all connected.
Good segue.
And right, so this stuff's already happening, right? But there's an interesting little thing. So what happened is, so these unmanned planes, right? The people that were flying them worked out of New Mexico. They rock up to work with a coffee. They sit down. They swap over from the operator because they're just flying them around. And they go, hey, cool. We've been flying this thing. You've got about 3 hours left. Sweet, no worries. Cool. Vaping, having a coffee, flying around. They're looking on the screen. Oh, a Toyota full of insurgents. They're like, I'll just fire a Hellfire missile at them. Boom, fucking dead, right?
Whoa.
Now, the people that operate those things remotely suffer from PTSD at a rate that's like 3 times more than actual pilots in the air, because the human body isn't pumping them full of hormones that protect them from the situation. Do you know what I mean? So we're like a beast that we're like, fuck, we got to fight this bear, right? Boom. So your body's like, I'm going to give you all this stuff, right? So then you're like, huh, 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 huh. Like you can do the thing, but it also protects you, puts you into a state of like, we're on here.
Right.
So these operators aren't getting any of that. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I was doing some murder, you know, if you could call it that, but I didn't have the murder hormones.
Yeah.
So they're like...
They're getting the beeline of guilt.
Fuck yeah, right? They can't
Yeah.
even be like, they're like, oh, I'm just... And that's like a thing that's going to be an issue down the line. Do you know what I mean? Because I think that once, you know, war is like something that's on the decline, even though we're kind of in one now. You know, we've tens of thousands of years we've been going at it like hard too. Go back to World War II. That was crazy. 65 million people, right? Dead 70 plus years ago. There's people alive that were around during that period of time. And now like it's kind of on the nose to do war. But I think once it becomes unmanned, there'll be more war. Because like human populations don't want like boots on the ground. They don't want dead soldiers and shit.
Yeah.
That's what we're actually against. We're not against fighting people. We kind of like that.
Yeah.
As long as you're winning. People love that shit. But I think once like you take the risk out of it with death, there's going to be a heap of war.
Do you think there's still going to be war close to civilization, or do you think there's going to be a dedicated territory for war?
Oh, you mean like a little play, like
a game
you,
zone?
me, MCG, let's go.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Or like
Nah.
Because it's the risk of losing civilization.
Totally.
Right? That's what creates the fear.
Because like nothing's changed. The reasons for war are all the same, and that's like dominance, resources,
Yeah.
and pretty much like not losing your position. Right. So like America, for example, is a global superpower. China is an emerging superpower. There's not a fucking chance in the world that they're going to let them catch them. They're not going to fight them when they're equal. They're going to get them when they've still got an advantage.
Yeah.
And that's like a huge motivator. So like countries push other countries into war a lot. You know what I mean? They make them have wars.
Go into that.
Stuff. So Japan, for example, during World War II, like the Americans kind of wanted to have a war with them, but they kind of like put these sanctions on them and stuff that like their only option was to kind of like fight. And then they just like knock them out of the whole thing. But it was like pressure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People have been doing that with Russia for a long time now. You know, like Russia's a shithole country. They're evil at best and corrupt, and the society's odd. You know, you can't just like live under like essentially different versions of like dictatorships for hundreds of years and be fine. Like they got different people.
Yeah.
But like the West were just like poking them for ages and like enticing them up and taking shit away from them, and like they're kind of lashing back at the moment. And I think we knew that was coming. Like through policy.
I think, yeah. Well, when democracy has such an to a dictatorship, an outrageous policy like freedom for all, which is kind of fucking strange. Like, we've never had that ever.
For all?
For all?
Have you met all?
Yeah.
Have you met the all?
Yeah, it's
That's
not
a real
it's not
shitty
the
ones
best.
in the all.
But here's a strange thought that I had recently, which was if you wanted to take over, and like I want to hear your thoughts on this. If you wanted to take over a country,
Yeah.
wouldn't you want the gender confusion implemented, because there would be less men to fight that war?
Hang on, this is a good one. I like this. So you're saying a precursor to an invasion would be the spreading of the information that gender could be fluid to therefore decrease the possible male fighting age population.
Yes,
Is that what you're saying?
and the
Have I got the
male,
right of that?
yeah, and the male presence inside that war.
It's a good one. Yeah, but I think those people who would be susceptible to that wouldn't make great soldiers anyway. The gender thing's funny. It's an odd one because it affects such a small, tiny slice of the population. But if you listen to the social messaging, it's almost like it's one of the biggest issues going around. I think the gender dysmorphia is like 0.0002% of the population. But if you listen to the message, it's...
In America, it's 20.8%
Of people...
of population in that generation.
In,
So-
what are they, like Zeds or something?
Yeah, Gen Z.
The new ones.
Yeah.
Are they people that have like a curiosity or a thought?
Well, I'm not going to go
No
out.
one's got that data.
Yeah, and ask 60 million people, but it from boomers, I think it was 1 point something percent, and then the next generation it was 2%, and then 10%. And then it doubles every generation.
Yeah, right.
And Bill Maher had a joke on that. He goes, by the year of 2054, we're all going to be gay.
Great.
Yeah, and go for it.
Giddy up. Yeah. Just some good fashion. Man.
Yeah.
Lift the standards a little bit.
But my thought behind it was, there's this guy named Yuri Medalov.
Okay.
And he
It's
was...
a strong Russian name.
Yeah, and he was a KGB insurgent.
Yeah.
And he went on Carlson in 1984.
Yeah.
And he was spitting facts about what it takes to get inside and disrupt certain information inside of a country. So what they do is they go in and formulate children inside of universities and schools to think a certain way, and then that pressure pushes the teachers to adhere to that pressure, and then from generation to generation to generation, the teachers are going to have to teach like that.
It's a long game, but I mean, if you've got the forethought for that, yeah, I think the real juice from the squeeze would be, and you could do this with any issue as long as you, politicized it to where if you just create division. I mean, the more that anyone is focusing on the domestic issue or a social issue or a thing, it's less, thinking time, decision-making time, funding that goes to anything else.
Yeah.
I think that's the real probably benefit of it. I think because the gender one's funny, right? Because like people like my parents' age, they're like, I don't get it. Like, what do they want to play the sport? And I'm like, every holiday you made me watch the movie Babe. That thing was like a pig that identified as a dog and won the competition, right? And none of them were like, he's a fucking pig.
Yeah.
They're all in the rule book being like, it doesn't say species.
Are you saying the Russians created Babe Pig in the City?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Air Bud.
Yeah.
A dog was on the basketball team, right? No one blinked at it. They're like, he's a dog. And they're like, oh, well, he's a male dog. They're like, we should really talk about how many black people are on this team because, like, if you want to fucking win some games, you probably got your diversity in the wrong area.
The dog's playing better than the black people.
Yeah,
That's
right?
funny as
So,
fuck.
like, we were growing up in this. There was, like, a snail that was a race car drive. There's a whole
That's
movie.
right.
There was a zebra that was in horse racing.
What was that one called again?
Stripes.
Stripes. That's the one.
Like, there was all of these
So
things.
stupid.
But then, like, someone who was just the same species but wants to, like, change a little bit, they're like, nah. And they're like, it's okay for the animal kingdom.
Yeah.
But how dare you get into our bloody sport?
That's a good point. Because that was all happening before, like, trans.
Fucking decades before, man.
Whoa.
Priming, I reckon.
Yeah, it could be. Like,
Yeah.
if you think about it.
So I said that to my parents the other day. They're like, I don't know about the trans. And I'm like, well, shouldn't have made us watch Babe. It's on you.
It's on you, old
And they're
man.
like, but no, it's my family fun, Magda Zavansky.
Oh, shit. She fell off the deep end, too.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, big splash.
Big
Splash. But, you know, the gender stuff, it's like, do what you want, man.
Yeah,
I
of
don't
course.
fucking care. But you want to, like, play a sport. It's like, yeah, just get enough of you together and make your own league. That's how it works. If you can't get enough people, you don't get enough team. That's how other sports work, right?
Yeah.
There's like 8 people rock up to the football team. The football team doesn't play. Like, just do some marketing and get some people, you know?
The one thing that I don't like about it is the teaching of that kind of sex life to children, which is they're trying to highlight, how to have sex with your boyfriend if you're a boy. And it is strange.
I mean, my daughter's 12. I got a 12-year-old daughter. She's at school. And it's just like, a lot of the stuff you hear on the internet, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You know, like the internet's so powerful that like people, like-minded individuals globally can connect. It's like an amazing invention for good and bad. You know, like the same thing that allows like people with one issue to come together and make a GoFundMe and get someone out of like a sticky situation can make ISIS happen. Like it's the same technology, right? It's connection, it's global connection of ideas. That's what makes it so awesome, right? And makes it so evil. But, you know, like every second week I feel like I hear it's like bloody drag queens in schools and this and that and all that sort of stuff. And there's millions examples of these things that people get angry about. You know, and I've got a child through the educational system. I just haven't seen any of it. I'm like, I don't know if this is just like another thing that like one school did once, but now it's like every school's doing it. Like, I feel like once again, the noise from it is just so loud compared to the issue.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. It's probably just the minority having news stories brought up about them, and then that's spreading like wildfire.
Dude, and it's clickbaity as fuck too, right? So it goes and it divides people, right? So then you might get
Hate spreads, man.
the same like story in the same format in the same, probably by the same news thing that isn't divisive, gets like 4 likes and nobody sees it, but that one, like the comments explode, right? So therefore it gets pushed out to more people. It's the same, but the same thing has happened. It still had an hour of time in something's life, but then the person who, you know, we found a dog and we thought it was missing, but then we found it and it's a good news story. It doesn't go as far.
Yeah.
But it's probably got the same amount of impact on the same amount of people.
I think that's funny as fuck.
Right?
In news cycles now, they do still try and like divide up all the shit with like one, here's a puppy kind of thing.
It's a business, right? So they need people to go through the website to then see the ads because that's how they stay in business, right? So they need to make it almost not real.
Interesting.
Because it's all business and corrupt, right?
Yeah.
Because some of the best websites and the best news outlets are neutral ads and they're fucking boring. Because there's no story, they just tell the facts. And no, do you know what? We don't want the facts. We want the story. It's a fireplace again. Like what? Nah, come on, tell me that. You know when you've been with a couple of people and you've all had the same situation and you point to your mate and you go, no, you tell it better.
Yeah.
You go. We want to hear that one. Yeah, he's put a little bit of 10% on it, but we all like the 10%.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah, sure. Like it's that 10% is not true, but it makes the story. And that's what we're there for.
That's what comedy is, right?
Fuck yeah. We're just lying.
Put an extra 50% instead of 10.
70 sometimes. Just making stuff up.
So tell me the journey. So how old were you when you went into the military?
18.
And did you have any aspirations to get into anything after the military?
Nah, dude, I was just living it. I went to school. All my school friends were like going off and doing trades and doing like apprenticeships and all this sort of stuff. And it didn't appeal to me. And I was living in Western Australia and I just didn't feel like I had any future.
Right.
Like I was like, I don't know what I want to do. And I literally stumbled across the military, walked into their office. There was like a video about all this sort of stuff. And they were like, if you sign this line, we can transport you into a different life. Do you know what I mean? Like when you play cards and you've got 7 cards and you're like, these cards are shit. And they're like, yeah, you can throw them in and get some more, but that's your turn. I was like, all right, I did that with my life. You know, I was like, I'm not going to go anywhere here. I'm just going to probably bum it out. Or I could go on this amazing adventure that I may or may not like. I don't know. And I just did that. I wasn't because of patriotism. It wasn't because I wanted to do this. I was literally like, all right, cool. Let's start again. Signed the name on a plane, on a bus, shaved head, and I was standing I'm like, oh no.
Full Jarryd style.
Yeah, it's exactly what it's like. I mean, they don't have to put any mayonnaise on that. That's what it is. And it's incredibly awesome. It's fucking exciting. It's you learn amazing stuff. You blow things up, you shoot things, you stab stuff, like you make beds. Like some of it's heaps really boring. But it was one of the most amazing things that's ever happened to me. As far as like, I got older and I got out, but I still look back on it. What I got from it was like discipline. I got teamwork. And I also saw 1,000 people on 1,000 occasions say, I can't do this. And then they did something.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you can just do shit. You can just get anything done. You just bit by bit, just make it happen. And I'm really grateful for doing that young and early. And there's things every single day that I do now. Like being a comedian is very difficult.
Harder than the military?
17 times harder.
Wow.
Because there's no path. In the military, everybody tells you what to do. When you're a comedian, it's like, go make an industry out of talking to people and then try and make that money out of it in a unregulated minefield of fucking shit. You know what I mean? Like so you got to grind. You know, doing podcasting is very similar. It's like, you spend all the money and you do all the work before any money comes back.
Yeah, for sure.
There's not much of an industry for it. There's a lot of money in it, but you got to earn that.
Yeah.
And you've got to cut your own slice of a pie that's always moving around and the game changes on you and stuff and all that sort of thing. So
there's something fun about it though.
Yeah, it's fucking the pursuit, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that pursuit of happiness thing. The happiness comes from the pursuit.
Fuck, dude, everybody wants to be on Everest, but you got to like climbing, man. Like it's like, you know what I mean?
Well said.
I got out of the army and I became a chef.
Right.
Because I was really passionate about cooking and that was what I used to do on my weekends. I get all the boys around and I'd be like, right, fellas, put some jus on that.
Oh, shit.
You know, like I was really into it and I was like...
Ration jus.
I was making shit out of ration packs. Like there's some freeze-dried rice in a ration pack and I figured out that if you cook that down with like the sachet of condensed milk that they give you and boil it down on a really low heat, you can make this rice pudding. And then you get this like sports drink powder that is essentially like powdered Powerade.
Yeah.
And you cook that together with a sachet of sugar on water and then you like pour it over a ammo tin lid and let it set overnight and you got yourself like toffee and praline and I was out bush like cooking it up, man.
That's
it was
dope.
And then I became a chef and I went into a kitchen and I was like, this is wicked. I loved it. High pace.
Teamwork.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's an army.
Yeah.
Less knives. Just it was the army again. I just
More
changed.
fires.
I didn't even realize I changed. I didn't even change industries. I just changed uniforms.
Yeah.
I went from being an infantry soldier to being like a chef, and I was fucking good at it too because I could just like go.
You had more blood on your clothes at the chef.
Exactly right. That Venn diagram's thick, and everyone's smoking durries in a like alleyway and. Everyone's got tats. It's the same thing, right?
It's the same thing. Yeah.
And I didn't even know. And I was good at it because like the head chef would say something and I was like, done. Like I was just following orders, right? And then delegating them out to your team. It was just the same thing over and over again. And then I finally just clicked one day and I was like, I don't really like this.
What was it?
I was running a restaurant in a place in Richmond in Melbourne and we essentially got listed in this bunch of restaurants that was like on this list to be like, you have some cred. And I kind of like for the year before that, I was like, I wish we could get to this goal. I think that would be awesome. And then I kind of got the goal and I was like, it gave me no joy.
Oh, wow.
And I'd worked so much. I was working 80 hours a week, 90 hours, 100 hours some weeks. I was tired. I didn't have any friends outside the people I worked with. Like I'd worked everyone out of my life. And it was just doing my little pursuit. And then I got probably goal 1 of goal 8. And I was like, oh, there's no happiness.
Oh, no.
And then in that period of time, there was probably like 6 months in that period of time where I was like, shit, I've fucked up here. I've succeeded so much that I've succeeded my way out of any success. Like I just got what I wanted. And then in that period of time, it was that comedy thing that I did floated around in my head since I was a teenager. I was funny at school and, had like a group of friends that we used to make little weird videos and stuff. Like we loved it. Like this is before the internet. Like it was great. Like on a camcorder.
Yeah.
And that was just the best. And I thought, is it too crazy to start again in my life and reinvent again? And I kind of looked at it and looked at the process and I'm like, fuck, this is going to be the hardest thing I've ever done. To go from the military, to go from running a restaurant, to becoming an entertainer. Yeah. For money, professionally. Mm-hmm. And I went, we've got the time. Let's go for it. I mean, what's the other option? Be 70 and sad? Like there wasn't another option for me. Like I was like, fuck it. I got the time. Let's go for it.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Like giddy up. Right. Yeah. And then, I just worked at it hard, man. And it was very difficult. It still is arguably extremely fucking hard. Like I went full-time professional in February 2020 in Melbourne.
Oh, wow.
I had 6 months of work in the book and I thought, oh fuck, I think we've done this. I think we've done this enough. I went to my work. I said, I'm leaving. I've that stuff. I used to wake up in the morning. Because I went from working in a restaurant to working in a cafe so I could have my nights free. Mm-hmm. I used to start work at 6, so I'd get up at 4:30 so I could write jokes, right? Go there, write jokes down there. Then I'd go to work. I'd work in a kitchen making eggs, and I knew that I had 4 guys with a great sense of humor, like within a couple of meters of me all day. I was like, great. That's where I try my jokes. Yeah. So I was going bomb, 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 bomb. They were saying stuff. Killer. I was working it. I was doing all the things. And then I would go there. I'd have a nap in a park after work. Is that right? And then I'd go out and I'd go to open mic comedy gigs. And I would do that every single night.
Well, fuck, man.
And then I'd get home like 11, 12 o'clock, wake up at 4:30, go again. And then I got to the point where I could work 4 days a week because comedy paid me like $100 a week, and I was like, that's a day's work. Cool. Let's cut away with the other one. Like, let's earn the same amount. Yeah. And then it went down to 3, and then it went down to 2, and then I quit my job, and then COVID hit, and I was unemployed, and I was like, do you know how much it sucks to be unemployed when you work hard? Mm. If you want to smoke bongs and do nothing, you'd love being unemployed. Yeah. But when when you go for it. Mm-hmm. And it gets taken away. It was so hard, man. And I went broke.
What did you do?
I wrote every day. I wrote a book to keep myself.
Is it published?
No, it's dog shit.
Dude. Put it out.
But I knew.
Call it dog shit.
I knew that the world would come back sooner or later. Mm. So I did a graphic design course because I knew that was something I'd need in the future. I did a marketing course. I did a small business course. And I spent all my money upskilling what I was going to do once the gates opened, because I knew the gates were going to open. Mm-hmm. So I tried to stay sharp and try to use that time. I was like, wow, time was always the metric that was kind of getting away from me. Yeah. Like I always wished I had more time. I wish I didn't have to wake up at 4:30. I wish I had more this, I need to have this nap now because I need to be sharp. I wish I had more time. And then I had time and I was like, I can't waste this time. Because it's it's the only thing that I've ever wanted. Yep. And now it's avalanching on me. So I was like, cool, stay busy, stay sharp. And then the gates opened and I was very fortunate enough to bolt. And kind of COVID was good in that regard because it allowed me to get ahead.
Did you do all of your learning and education online?
Yeah, fucking YouTube, man.
Yeah.
Dude, learn anything on YouTube. Mm-hmm. I did, Canva, for example, right? Like I work for other people now. If they need a poster, I just make it for them and they charge them some money on the side because I watched someone that did these 20-minute tips and I watched 100 of them and I just learned a new thing each time and they came out and then when you scroll as well. Yeah. Go and follow some stuff where people do things. So then you're scrolling and you're kind of seeing...
Instead of doom scrolling, you're learning some shit.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And just get really interested in that. And I think I'm really... Before I went to the army, I just thought I wanted to go to university because that's kind of what you do when you leave school. But I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I was just going to go there and do nothing. And I'm so glad I didn't go and get an education I'm so glad I went out and just got a life, because like it's almost
locked in again.
Yeah, it's almost like what the military gave me the ability to make anything my own university from now on.
That's
like
a good way of looking at it.
If I decided that I really wanted to get into, finance, right? I think in 3 years' time I could just do it by learning. I don't think I need a teacher. I think I could just absorb enough.
That's what I did in finance.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm glad I don't need to pay someone for that.
Yeah.
It's available. They're getting paid in their own way by creating their own self-sufficient channel. Like and subscribe, like it's all money, right?
Yeah. That's what I think is maybe the issue with large company, like when you're working for a large company, is because everyone kind of fucks off. But when it's small teams and stuff, like in the military, in chefing, in finance for me, and like even just having a solid group of boys around you all the time, just to, like I got your back, you got mine.
Yeah.
It kind of instills that we can do anything kind of thing.
Because you can.
Yeah. There's nothing stopping
Because you can.
Yeah.
And if you can't do it, you can do enough to be able to do it next time.
Yeah, like learn the path.
Yeah, it's super important to fucking fuck dickheads out of your life. Like as you get better at life, as you upskill and, the world starts rewarding your effort, more dickheads are come. And they just they want something from you.
Yeah.
Whether that's
leeches.
Generally, it's just notoriety, or like not many people want money unless you get kind of real rich.
Yeah.
But like people want something from you. And if you can identify that and just surround yourself with good people or people who understand what the exchange is.
Yeah.
It's like, cool. Yeah, I can do this. I've got the name and the drive and the know-how. You've got a skill set. I'd love to work together.
Yeah.
I think we could do a lot together and keeping really honest with each other and checking in and just kind of pushing that, whatever it is you both want forward, and just being really honest with people as well.
Yeah.
It's like, being a chef was really interesting like that, because everybody wanted to be at the top. No one really wants to be, you're working way to the top. So when you are at the top, kind of everyone wants your job. So you got to be. It's
the Arnold thing, right? The wolf on top of the.
Yeah.
They're
it's
always
lonely
working,
up there.
Yeah, it's lonely. What does he say? The wolf that's trying to get to the top has more hunger than the wolf at the top.
Correct. Yeah.
But the wolf at the top has the food if he needs it.
So you got to keep these people at bay. Now, most of the time they're not coming for your job. They're just coming for an equal job somewhere else. But you don't want to lose your staff. True. So you got to keep them happy for a time being and be like, what do you want out of this? And they're like, sometimes if you just ask people, it's like, how long do you think you've got here? Because I want to see you go and succeed. And they'll just break that facade and go, I think that in 6 months I want to be here.
Yeah.
And I go, cool. Like, how do we get you there? Let's get you there. Because they'll stay for 12 months then. They'll stay for 18 months. Let's make sure you're ready to go. So when you do make that leap, you're going to succeed. And then often a position within your company might open and you just give them that thing because they're ready and they stay for a couple more years, But not only that, when you do finally go, you got respect. So if you need something down the line, everything goes both ways, right?
Yeah.
Go try to look after people.
For sure. So 2012, you get out of the military. You go fully professional in comedy in 2020. So for that 8-year period, you're bouncing back and forth from comedy and your chefing.
Yeah, so I did chefing till about 2017 full time. And then I decided to do like a gig.
Right. Now explain to me your first gig.
Dude, it's fucked. Do you even know how this works? There's like venues in this country that has like a piece of paper and you just write your name on a piece of paper. Yeah. And you go up to like a mic with like an audience that kind of go there to watch trains crash. And you might be one of those trains.
Yeah.
These people are sickos, man. They're fucking pissing themselves, but you're not doing well.
Yeah.
They're like, oh my God. Like I went on, the first time I ever did stand-up comedy, I went on after a guy who was dressed as a banana
Oh, no.
And then he held up a banana. And then he peeled the banana and was going, like it was like a voodoo banana. And I told his act better than it went. Just then, I just boiled down 5 minutes to about 8 seconds, and it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
This wasn't.
Oh, no.
And the whole audience is going, I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah.
And then he goes, thank you, and leaves. And like 8 people like... And then the host with the piece of paper goes up there and goes, well, the stage... Yeah, Jarryd, it gets my name wrong. And I'm like, oh, fuck. So you walk up there, right? And there is nothing to hide behind. It is just you and some ideas and kind of no craft.
Yeah.
Craft is very difficult to learn. In comedy, it's like it takes a good couple of years to actually learn how to hold yourself and be confident.
Yeah.
Because it's not a confident environment. It's very hard.
Well, under pressure, diamonds are created.
Fuck yeah. And then for every 1,000 people that do this sign up gateway of this is how you enter, I reckon 10 come out the other side.
Really?
Oh, it's brutal, man. There's a swamp scene of like comedy that's just grabs your ankles and doesn't let you out. And only a few people get out of that.
How many people stay in that?
Because I reckon half of them never really do it again. Because there's a lot of first timers that just go, I've done comedy, or I did 2 gigs, I did 3 gigs. Like I don't really class you as a comedian until you've done like 50. Because I know you've given it a shot.
Yeah.
And there's some people that just do that forever. They don't make it out, or they don't. Yeah, I mean, this comedy scene is an odd thing. Like I want to be a professional comedian. I am a professional comedian now, but I work towards that. There's some people that are just hobbyists.
Yeah, yeah.
But they're pretty funny.
Yeah.
But, they do it once a fortnight. And
you need more commitment than that.
But sometimes they don't care.
Yeah.
They go out there, they hang around with some funny people.
That's true.
It's like,
social.
I know a lot of people that play cricket on the weekend. They got no plans to play for Australia. They just want to hang out with other people that like what they do. And it gets them away from the missus and the kids. Like there's heaps of people like that.
Yeah.
And some of them are brilliant. And I'm like, what are you doing with this thing? And they're like, I just don't have it. I see what you do and I don't have that. Because you can't do it half-assed. You just won't make it. And then the worst thing you want to do is go to like hit a ceiling and just not have the next one. It's a little sad on that part. There's a real sad level of the scene of the people that don't
get to the next level.
Yeah, they can make just enough to make it like hobby money, but it doesn't go further. But
what do you think it would take for a hobbyist to like junction into a full-time comedian? Is it just like the repetition?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like sitting down and being like, okay, cool, what are we doing for this next 10 years? Let's try to figure out the best way to set some challenges. I mean, it's sacrifice.
Yeah.
I guess at the end. You need to sacrifice your self-esteem. You need to... Comedy is such a humbling activity because to get better, you have to be bad. So you have to go to like places with some new stuff. You need to develop new things and need to kind of find lines and cross them to realize where they even were in the first place. And you need to be shit.
Yeah.
To figure out what part of the 20% of the 100% was all right. And then sooner or later you can put all those 20s together and have a good time. But then you can't just do that all the time because you're not growing. So you need to be shit. You need to be bad. It's a very humbling activity.
That's interesting.
It's like, that's why like musicians will slowly go crazy at some stage because the audiences get bigger. Nobody tells them no. They play the songs. It's all good. And then sooner or later, they're like jerking off and like strangling themselves because they're like, where's the next fucking thrill?
Yeah.
Comedians ain't going to die by strangling, man, because we're just like, we're out there doing it on stage. Being like, I really cared about this sentence and like it didn't land. And they didn't even know it happened.
Well, Kinnison might have hung himself.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So it's very humbling. It's like, and you can't master it.
That's a good point.
It's unmasterable.
Yeah. Which is strange, the difference between musicians and comedians. The last copy of a song before it goes out is the mastered version, which is strange, right? Because with comedy, unless you've got a special and you're never going to do those jokes again, that's kind of your mastered special of like those jokes. But at the same time, you're always looking for the next best thing.
Because the comedian and the audience are symbiotic, right? So they're not there without you, and you're not there without them. Whereas, like, you can play guitar in the corner of a restaurant, and everyone's still having dinner, whether you're there or not.
Right.
It just changes the vibe.
Yeah.
The comedian only exists with and for the audience.
Eyes on them.
Right? So then they're the variable that changes most of the time. So you could do something you've done for 10 years and you think it's mastered, and then someone drops a glass right before the part that's supposed to be the best thing, and then you say something that is like the perfect Venn diagram about what you're already talking about, something that happened earlier, and the glass, that then becomes the new joke that night, and the room explodes, and you go, fuck, I wish that could happen every night.
Yeah.
And you go, I've got gears, and there's different things, or the glass breaks and nothing happens, and it ruins your punchline, and you got nothing for it, and that was kind of how you were going to finish. And then you got to say something else because you're on the spot, and it's wicked. That's wicked.
Yeah.
That's so good. That's the best, because
That's what I enjoyed about your comedy the most. Is your crowd work. It was
I love it.
Fantastic.
because like those people in that order, in that seating position, in that vibe, in that thing, everything that led up to how they feel for that day will never happen again. That's the one time. That's the snowflake effect of doing comedy. Like, no two gigs will ever be the same. They can't be, right? You could put the same people in a room, but their football team lost an hour before. That they're different people.
Yeah, true.
Like craziest gig I ever did. Not I've done lots of crazy gigs, but of just Comedy Lounge in the city. Maybe a couple of years ago, the show started 10 minutes after the final finished. West Coast were playing Collingwood.
Oh, no.
The show was about to start. Everyone in the crowd is sitting there on their phone with people leaning over the phone. They lose by like less than 10 points. It's tight as fuck. So the whole crowd goes, and then they go, welcome stage, you're MC.
Oh, no.
And like my mate who was MCing was fucking dying. And we'd done a show like a couple of hours earlier and it was killing.
Yeah.
And we go, oh no, there's just a different society now.
Yeah.
We've got a different group of variables. And it's so cool, isn't it?
That's very strange. Where a music gig wouldn't have that. It would literally just be like, you'd know the band, you'd know their songs. We're here to pump.
Yeah.
We'll forget about the outside world.
Because the band kind of vibe off each other. I feel like...
And they create the energy.
I feel like sometimes I've watched my mates playing bands and every now and then they'll look at each other and they'll go, we're on.
Yeah.
And
Insane.
I can't hear what's different, but they can.
Yeah.
Because they've got a different spectrum. And their dicks are getting hard. Like they're just like, yeah, the drum, but we did the but. Then we all went, when he went but, we all went, ooh. I don't know what's happening, man. They're talking Swahili, right? And it's just like fucking, but whatever that is exists in every pursuit.
Yeah.
And it's like the fucking cream on top of the milk of whatever you do in your life is just like, right now I'm kind of crushing whatever I'm doing.
Flow state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it feels nice. And that's like heroin.
When was the first time you felt that on stage?
Probably 3.5 years in. Something really weird happened on stage, whereas so you'll often tell your jokes. And as you're talking, you do this a lot when you're telling a story or someone's telling a story and you're like, fuck, I can't wait to tell my story next. You're listening, but you're like, oh, I'm going to tell a better story than this because this is going fucking nowhere, right? But I was on stage and I was talking and I was like kind of loading up the next things to say whilst talking. And then it was going really, really well that I could also talk, load the next thing to say in, see them, feel them, and then also kind of enjoy the moment from like a third point of view.
Dude.
And it just like, it was, I feel like I was all the members in the band popping.
Yes.
And I got to the point where like I had like, and I was playing with my face to the audience. I felt like I was playing the audience like a piano. And it only, that happens 3 times in the 1,500 gigs that I've done.
Wow.
But that was really nice. I live for that.
Yeah. That's cool. Is that how you kind of look at your jokes? Like you're loading the next one in as you're presenting the first one?
Oh yeah, totally. And if you get, like I'm doing a lot of comedy sets are quite scripted. I've been doing something lately where I take no script and I just go, I'm going to just have fun with these people. I'm going to talk to them and then I'm going to lead into something and I'm going to talk to them and I'm going to lead into something else. And I'm really trying to challenge myself to be just really elastic with it and not so rigid and just enjoy and let them know that it's okay.
That's cool.
We're going to have a fun time.
Yeah.
And then there's material. And I mean, by doing that is just, I guess that's the risk I'm taking. I'm trying to be bad because if I do a proper scripted set, it's going to be better.
But you're not going to learn the fluentness.
Yeah. And there's less, I feel like there's less, it's going to be better, but it's going to be consistent.
And rigid. But
I feel like there's more chance of magic.
True.
When there's a bit of chaos.
Yeah.
You know?
That's how I run my life.
Yeah.
It's just fuck shit up.
Yeah. It's like people get on the streets and protest shit and then I don't know, something happens and then they're like, we got a new government now. And they're like, did you plan this? Like, no, we just saw an opportunity. Just fucking took it, right? Yeah, we just shot him in a basement. Just the whole family.
What are you going to do? Do it on a hill.
Cut their heads off. I don't know, there's magic in chaos.
Yeah, for sure.
If you can be disciplined, I guess,
isn't it
to take it.
You got to be disciplined enough to be...
You'll be disciplined enough to not take the easy road.
Yes.
So I'm not going to do this tonight. I'm going to be crazy. I'm going to risk not winning in the pursuit to win when I could have just won, I think.
So that's like the kind of standard that every kind of sport has. You're risking losing by playing.
Yeah, because there's no point winning if you can't lose, I guess.
Yeah, no, true. That's a good point. That's why fucking participation trophies should go out the fucking window.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah.
Sooner or later. Yeah, you need healthy competitiveness.
Yeah.
Is good, especially on yourself. So I think it's nice to be competitive on yourself.
It definitely is.
I try and set a challenge every so often and go, I'm going to get this. Pride. How good's pride?
Oh, yeah.
Pride's good. Pride's good for people.
Yeah.
You should make people proud of stuff.
Even though it's one of the 10 commandments, don't be proud. Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like they fucked it a lot with the kid fucking stuff.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Because
yeah.
that wasn't on the list.
Yeah, I think they felt some pride in fucking these kids, and they were like, you know what, we probably shouldn't be proud about this.
They're like, it wasn't on the list. I did the other 10 things, but Moses, he didn't.
It's called adultery.
Yeah.
It doesn't reach the kids. Yeah.
Technically,
that's the adults.
Technically.
So your writing process,
Yeah.
you said that you were writing for an hour and a half prior to going to work. Is that what you're currently doing now still?
No, it's changed a bit. I mean, I'll show you my, if you're listening to this, you won't be able to see it, but on the video. But essentially, these are my notes in my phone. And if I just scroll back, I can just, I can scroll back for a couple of really hundreds of meters of just ideas. And they're all dog shit, right? So ready, let's just see where it lands, right? How do you feel about rhubarb?
Interesting.
I feel like it's unnecessarily sour.
Yeah.
I've never made anything out of that. But I had an idea and I thought it was funny. And I've got no idea what it means. But ideas come to you randomly.
Yeah.
Sometimes they drop out of thin air while you're driving. Sometimes you're talking and someone else gives you an alley-oop and you just slam dunk a fucking funny. You know, they've done all the work.
Yeah.
But you've just got the skills to put it in the basket, right? And
that's a good point.
And so I use my phone as a way to collect ideas because ideas are like a tap. You don't turn it on and off, it just drips. So that's my bucket. I put a bucket under the tap. So then when I go down and write, I go into the bucket and I just go, what do we got here? Oh, this thing from 2 years ago. That's right. Yeah, cool. I'm going to work with that today because I found a little breakthrough, or I'm going to slowly just chip away at a whole bunch of ideas and I'm going to see what I want to do today. And you kind of formulate the idea. I mean, I don't know if like a sculptor sees like a piece of stone and goes, I'm going to make this, or they just start going for it and then it turns into something. Like I feel like there's two styles of writing. Some people say, I'm going to write about this, and other people just write and then they kind of go with the flow. I'm more of a go with the flow guy.
Yeah.
So then you start sort of forming out these ideas about things, you know? And I have like a 5-minute joke, and then you got to work on it so much. Like it takes so long. Like I have a joke at the moment, it goes for 5 minutes. And it just started with the fact that my parents have greyhounds and they put clothes on the greyhounds, right? And one of them's wearing a turtleneck. And I just thought, fuck, this guy's fucking confused as he doesn't know if he's fast or not, right? And like, I was like, that's funny.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's funny as. So I've got this one sentence and I go, cool. I know this is funny. So I take it to an open mic and I go, hey, the dog it doesn't know if he's funny, it is slow or not.
Yeah.
Laugh. And I go, cool. All right, that works. Now I need to make another story. Why is he wearing the clothes? And then like you kind of take the one thing and then you leapfrog to the next. And then I thought it was quite funny that all dogs are taking antidepressants. So I started talking about dogs with antidepressants, right? And I had the line, my parents' dog's taken, has anxiety. I don't know why he's got anxiety. He's not trying to be a comedian. So I've got that. And then I go, but I've got the dog clothes line. And I'm like, then I just change the vibe of it. I go, he's wearing a turtle. I don't know. No wonder he's having a mental breakdown. He's thinking, am I fast or not? So now I've got the same idea.
Yeah.
But I've got two ideas and I've kind of bolted them together. So then I've got like another bit. And then I just like wrote a new sentence for like 6 months until the bit became 5 minutes long.
Whoa.
And then I go, this is funny. Like, how long can I keep making this funny?
Yeah.
Because like the idea is never there. It's never quite finished, right? You're always tinkering with it. It's like, when did the painter know that he's done his last stroke? He doesn't. He just kind of eventually goes, I think it's done. But he could just go, hang on.
Yeah.
Then it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like naturally.
Fuck, I overshot it.
Yeah, I should have. The eyebrows are fucked now.
Now he's got a dick.
So then it's just like, I'm just working with this idea, you know, like every night I'm trying a new thing, you know, and then it's like, I get a new line out there where I'm like, my parents love these dogs more than they love me, right? They take the dog for a walk on a lead so it doesn't go missing. I had to walk to school past a pedophile's house. Right? And they make the dog they make the dog breakfast. I didn't get breakfast. I had to walk to school hungry, man. Free lollies are free lollies, right? You know, like so now I've got like we're still talking about the dog, but we've introduced a new idea.
Yeah, new situation.
So then you're adding another Venn diagram on the Venn diagram, right? And then in the middle of all of these Venn diagrams that you make in the center of where they all are, if you can just figure that out,
that's the punchline.
you're a fucking genius.
Wow.
Because it's hard.
Yeah.
And then you're like, but what is it? You know, and it's just, and then like, because now I've got this whole like thing of stuff and I'm talking to my, you know, my partner, I'm talking to other people. I'm like, I've got this funny thing. And then they're like, yeah, my dog's fucking got anxiety and stuff too. And you go like, tell me about it. What is your experience about it and stuff? And then I thought about the idea. I'm like, these dogs don't know they're taking antidepressants because we're hiding it in food.
True.
So like we're hiding it in ham. So it's like, so then I come up with this idea. I go, cool, the dog's at the dog park. He's talking to all the other dogs and they're going, Axel, bro, you're doing really well. Are you taking something? He's like, yeah, I'm taking ham. And he goes, I'm having ham in the morning. I'm having ham in the afternoon. It's the best. And he goes, you put on a bit of weight, can't come, fucking who cares? Like, it doesn't matter, right? And the other dogs are going, that's how do I get on the ham every day?
Yeah,
and he goes,
yeah.
it's easy, man, eat the couch. And they're like, they're all in it for the treats. I'm like, it's a fucking conspiracy, right? Like these dogs are like kids with ADHD. They're like, their mates have got it. They're on the meth. They're like, fuck, how do I get on the ham? Give me some ham, bro. They're all home eating the couches, right? And then like, they never know they're taking the drugs. They just think they're on ham.
Yeah, yeah.
He goes, my owner's going to work. And I go, oh, fuck, this ham's good. Like, it's just, they don't know. We haven't told them. They're not in the loop.
Yeah.
We're drugging them.
I like that.
And then
cool.
you go, well, where's the dance? Right? It's just like, and you just kind of go on and on and on. And then you just, and that's fun. And then you have the added risk of being like, because often you'll just make something up and you go, fuck, this is genius. And you tell someone, like, oh, yeah, I heard that Google such and such. I think he did that in the 90s. And you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Someone already got to it, right?
Yeah.
And it's at first that sucks, but then you got to start being okay with it. I wrote a joke. I can't remember what it was, but it was really awesome. And I sent it to my mate, who's a comedian. I said, look at this. And he goes, it's good, but this comedian, Steve Hughes, who's like...
Oh, massive. Love
he
it.
did that in the thing. And I went, oh, that sucks. He goes, no, don't worry about it. You wrote a Steve Hughes joke.
True.
And I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
I was like, that's cool.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, all right, just, yeah. And I think it's important when you are being creative
The goth
to
on
never
the merry-go-round.
never look at other people. Like, don't get your idea and then go, has this been done? Because you're going to fucking cock block your creativity. Let the idea go, write it out, and then see if someone's done it.
Yeah.
Because if someone has, then you've already got it. And you go, well, that's okay because it's a little bit different. And if I just pivot it here, it'll be completely different. Whereas if you just started it at the start, you would have never written the thing. You would have never written the song. You would have never written the poem. You would have never written the joke. You would have cut it off at the tip before it even started to grow.
Yeah.
So just let it go and then analyze it in a different brain. Like be creative, then be analytic differently.
Yeah.
Let's let it sit it away for a week and then go see if someone's done it. Just enjoy the fact that you made something.
Yeah.
It's hard to make something up.
And also you can write jokes in different ways. Like
Totally.
people use like that Carlos Mencia shit. When that motherfucker was stealing jokes from the Comedy Store, he came out and he's like, no, it's kind of like a different joke. And they're like, no, it's word for word the exact same joke, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
And I think like sometimes you're going to have idea overlap, you know?
Totally.
With other people.
Yeah. Especially if you're doing like current events. Like you can't tell me like when the coronation happened, there's like 5,000 open mic comedians in England. Like one of them's who's a hobbyist who you'll never hear of is just written the same thing you have.
Yeah.
And you'll never know.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Just enjoy it. And, you know, I mean, the same thing about the gender stuff. It's like this joke or like idea plagiarism. I've never really seen it happen in live. I've been around a lot of comedians and a lot of things. I haven't seen anyone get up in arms about a same idea or whatever. Like they're really rare.
Yeah.
Really, really rare.
Do you think Australia has a mecca for that though?
For comedy?
Yeah. There's a comedy store in Melbourne, correct?
I think the Melbourne International Comedy Festival is the mecca.
The mecca, yeah.
So, I just did it recently. I've done it for the last 2 years.
Congratulations.
It's great. I did 16 shows, sold them out, which was fantastic.
Awesome.
And it was like probably one of the first times like I felt like an act. Not a comedian, not someone doing comedy.
Yeah.
I was like, a bunch of people came to see me. They wanted to see
you.
They wanted to see what I'd come up with this year. They're like, we loved him last year. What's he going to do this year? He's new. He's just like, you got to see this guy. He's a new guy on the scene. Like, what's he doing, you know? And I felt like people were just coming. And it felt good, man.
Yeah.
It was, see that?
Oh, yeah. Goosebumps. That's dope.
That's how good it felt.
That's dope.
It felt so good that the memory made my body do something.
That's cool.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And it's so challenging to get enough material to have a show that you can, and you kind of pay to enter. It's a weird thing about comedy festivals. So you pay to get in,
Right.
and then you just take the tickets. So you kind of like, if you sell out, you can make good money, but also no one can come. And then you're that guy that has to do like shows to like 3 people, which you do.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
Do you come at it the exact same way?
When the crowd's little, I will try. I'll read you a review. So I did Adelaide Fringe Festival. I had 5 shows booked. I sold them out, and then I put on another 2. 1 sold out, and the last one 2 people booked.
Oh, so 1 less person than regular.
2 people were in the audience, right? So I went out to this audience,
Right.
the 2 people that were sitting there, a guy and his girlfriend. And I said, hey guys, I'm doing the show. And I said, you guys are the only people that rocked up. I said, I'm happy to not do the show. I'll buy you a drink. But I'll just let me know as well. Like I'm pretty keen to do the show. And they said, no, do the show. I said, it's just going to be us.
That's
I said,
cool.
what's your name? I said, such and such. Cool. Really happy to meet you. I'm Jarryd, by the way. So in a minute, I'm going to go behind this curtain and then they're going to call my name over. And then I'm going to come out.
Yeah.
And you guys got to pretend this didn't happen.
Yeah.
And you got to kind of act like 100 people.
Yeah.
Can you do that? And they said, yeah. Sweet. No worries. Cool. Hey, these people fucking get out. Woo, right? God, absolutely awesome, right? And did the show. It was like the best I've ever done.
Really?
Because I was like, I just did it to them.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what I'm talking about, Zach. You know, like boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom, and all that sort of stuff. Comes out, had a drink with them afterwards, spoke to them for a little bit. Comes out a week later, they write reviews.
Wow.
And I didn't know. And they said, essentially it's 4.5 out of 5 stars, which is pretty good. But his stage presence is second to none. And although most of his run was performed to sold out shows, this show was much smaller, but it didn't matter. Every time Jarryd performs, he treats it like he's performing to the MCG.
Oh shit, dude.
And I was like, I could have treated that gig
half-assed.
like it was 2 people. Mm-hmm. Or, I mean, this is the saying that I took away from it. You got to perform for the people that didn't come. Mm-hmm. No, you perform for the people that came, not for the people that didn't come.
Right.
So those 2 people came. And whether they were reviewers or not, which I didn't know at the time, what's their conversation on Monday when they go to their workplace? Mm-hmm. What did you do on the weekend? Dude, we went to this comedy show. We were the only 2 people there. Fuck off. How was it? It's pretty good. It was this guy, like, and he went out and it was the thing, like, and, you know, I feel like if you read anyone who's successful's book, in the first couple of chapters, there's that story. Mm-hmm. And it's like, those people now have that thing, like, we saw him and we were the only ones there.
Yeah, yeah.
And now, like, you know, he's got big and he's got all this stuff. And it's like, I think if you can't do that, then you don't deserve the theatre. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so much entitlement in this world, like, that people want stuff without fucking working for it or without... I don't know what it is. It's like you just don't deserve it. Like, why would you? There's just so many of us trying for the same perfection. It's like, gotta be good, man. Gotta be great. If you're gonna make some content, make it good, because you're one thumb scroll away from something great. You want to do comedy? There's plenty of other people in line with me. If you're not good enough, like, get out of line. You're blocking up the fucking system, right?
Right.
If you want to...
I like that mentality.
If you want to be a famous musician, but you're not acting like you're not acting like... Get out of line. You're clogging up the system, man. Like, because there's someone else that will.
Yeah.
And they deserve it. So that's what drives me.
I love that, because that's my favorite... Well, as you can fucking tell, the person that I idolize the most, Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And he does that same shit that
What is it about Rogan that first made you go, I'm inspired?
Funnily enough, it was his comedy. I completely forgot he was on Fear Factor and all that shit.
Oh, yeah.
It was his
I did forget
comedy.
about that.
Yeah. And when I first saw his first special, the first special that he had on Netflix, and he has that fighter jet joke.
I don't know much, but I don't know much of his comedy.
Great, dude, you gotta watch.
I've seen enough to enough.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't know bits. Yeah.
Fucking wild jokes, and he didn't have a huge crowd. He didn't. It was a tiny crowd, and he lit that stage up like a motherfucker.
Great.
Like,
Fuck yeah.
Like it was a fucking arena, just going ham. Like, the way that he portrays himself in every instance is with such confidence, and he's only confident because he's done it before, and he knows. And there's always a good response to confidence.
Yeah.
There's always a good response to confidence.
Oh, it's fucking evolutionary that we respect confident people. Like, say what you want about a lot of people in history, but like Genghis Khan,
Dude.
that cunt would have been so confident. I got this crazy idea. What is it? Fucking the world. All right.
Yeah.
How are we going to do it? Together on horses. Let's go, boys. We in? We're fucking in, Great Khan. Let's go, mate. We got can-do attitude. Let's go fucking pillage the shit out of this place. Together, as a team, as a family.
And that's why the samurais are also so fucking like up there with their confidence, because Genghis Khan couldn't get past the samurais to take over Japan.
Ooh, yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
All the people that stand up for what they want in history always get recommended in the future.
Yeah.
Always. That's what I love, that whole philosophy about comedy. Like, you're on this path by yourself to get it done.
Yeah, it's like you're in competition with everyone else doing it, but you want them to go well because you're all on the journey. You've seen the bumps, you've felt the pain before. So when someone's up there having a bad time, especially if they're a good act and a good hustler and a good work ethic, you're like, oh, that happens to all of us, you know, like you feel it with them. But you also want to progress past them, but you want to progress past them because you've beat yourself.
Yeah.
And ideally you all go together. You know, like I'm in a really interesting part of my career where, you know, I've got the opportunity to, some of the old stalwarts of the Australian comedy scene, for example, they might not be around for much longer. You know, like realistically, Dave Hughes probably won't be doing comedy in 20 years, right?
He's probably dead, to be honest.
Right. He's had an amazing life. You know, people like this have come from nothing and built an empire. And I'm in a position where the guard's going to have to change sooner or later. And then fast forward a little bit down there's going to be some young whippersnappers talking about some really cool shit that are going to hopefully take my job one day, which I look forward to.
That's cool.
And I'd really like to take what they've done and honour it and build on it and create more comedy for the next people that come through to be inspired. And so you can do it, you know, like they did it in a time when the internet came through and they didn't know what to do and they had to master things. They had to learn how to make content. They had to go into this new world of being a creative where like the system is decentralizing, right? It used to be you go on, you do a club and then someone at the club would see you and they say, I want to sign you and I want to take it through. And the phone has broken that system. You can now self-promote and you can create a following and those people can convert to their money into your sales. And it just goes on and on and on. And the old world's dying and you're now a sort of producer comedian. And you've got to be in control of that. And then that system's going to decay and fall apart with whatever's happening on the new gen. And I look forward to those same stories, those same mindsets, the same narrative. That fireplace is just going to keep going and be adapted and adapted and adapted. And people will love it and hate it and have their own opinions. And some people will like that person and some people will hate that person. And the common audience who are just generally kind of the worker of society, like we're there to entertain them because they're keeping everything running and they need a break. And that's what we're there for.
I like that sentiment, for sure. That's dope.
It's for them. You know, I don't want to. Unfortunately, I can't keep infrastructure happening. I don't know how. I don't know how.
Yeah.
That wasn't my role.
Do you think that Australia has the potential to be where America is with the comedy scene?
Yeah, because I mean, it's different. But I mean, to be where it is doesn't mean that we need to be the same. It means we can have the same quality, opportunity and stuff in a different way. The same way that people will say, go to America, you can get on the road and you can work. Some people will say, go to England, you can go there and you can work and you can really be like, learn how to crowd work. And that's kind of, they have a different thing. Australia is so big. We have a fucking small population for our size. So in America, for example, you can do, if you did a state a week, you could take you a whole year to America and you wouldn't do half the shows that are available.
That's a good point. Have you done America?
Never done it. It's on the list. In Australia, so I stay on the road. So I'm professionally homeless.
That's awesome.
I'm nomad. I don't have an address. Because my power is going into a scene, taking all of the good gigs, and I'll say, I'll see you in 6 months. And then I go somewhere else. I'm like a Viking, you know. I'm like a fucking creative Viking. I pillage, I leave.
That's the way to do it.
Well, otherwise you never get too stale. You never get too, like, you're always getting the best because you're not there. So I go, hey, I'm in Perth these dates. What have you got? People are like, great, you got this comedy club, you got this one. Can you host this one? Can you do that? I got this fucking debate going on. Can you do this? Yeah, sure, I'll do it all, man. And then you leave. And then you do the same thing in another place. And you do it in another place and you do it in another place. And you just kind of stay fertile and just like drop your seeds everywhere and then come back and harvest them later.
That's actually really interesting because you're creating opportunities for every gig that you accept. And I wouldn't have you on this podcast if you didn't do that debate.
Exactly. Right. So then you go, hey, I'm in town. I'm in Brisbane this week. I've got these gigs. I've got these days free. Can I jump on your podcast? And they go, yeah, cool. And then you go, all right, cool. I'm busy. I'm just busy.
That's cool.
I'm staying busy.
I like that.
You know, and I like it. I can see things and see different places, meet different people. It's great, you know, and you have connections. Do you know what I mean? Like next time I'm in town, I can one message away of being like, bro, are you still doing your podcast? I'd love to come back on. And then it's just on.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, bro, now I run this thing. Would you be able to host my show? And I'd be like, cool, man, I'll make time. You're like, I don't have that much cash to pay, but it's cool, man, I'll do it. And then you can give back. Like it's all, you know, I run this thing now. Can you help me out? Love to. Like you make connections and then you bring everyone up along the way.
That's kind of what it's not like my sole purpose with the podcast, but it is like a very big notch on the belt, which I want to be able to have big comedians come over, set up with event organizers to put on shows and have them come and do the podcast.
You're not that far. I mean, every goal's not that far away. I mean, you know, you're not. The reason I did this podcast, if you want some constructive feedback about why I'm here,
Let's go.
Because a lot of people say, can you do this? And the first thing I do is I go, boom, I hit the link. Who is this person? What are they doing? And I saw this, I go, this is great content.
Thank you.
I'm like, this is well made. I didn't even watch it, but I'm like, quality knows quality, right? And you go, great, because that's what you need to be. You're competing with so much amazing stuff while people are taking a shit.
Yeah.
They're just watching stuff.
Yeah, literally.
And it's all well made.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like fucking, Liver King got so famous, not because of the roids, it's because of the level of the execution of the content, right? So whatever that message is, it needs to be well executed. It's the same as doing the comedy, right? When I go there, I got to be funny and I got to be well because I got to execute. So like, I look at this podcast and I go, great, it looks good, it's everything, there's effort. If I'm going to take a couple of hours out of my day, it's going to be worth it. I'm going to have a good time. You know, at least the boxes are ticked, right?
Yeah.
Then you get somewhere, you walk in, you're impressed, I'm impressed. You know, I'm like, fuck, this is awesome, man. And then you have a good time and then you go whack and then you go, that's how you get more people to come in. Because they see things. They're like, oh, I saw Jarryd was on the show. Like, you know, like blah, 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 blah. And it just grows. And you never know, you're just so close to your goal at all times.
Yeah.
You know, like realistically, like a podcast of like this level with this level of content is like one viral video away from getting a shitload more listeners that then go back and listen to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like I run a TikTok channel, right? And I think I made 40, 50, 60 videos before anyone watched it.
Really?
And then I had my first one that kind of like went kind of viral, maybe like 800,000 views. And then everyone watched the other stuff. And then I built a little bit more followers, and then like I got one that had a couple of mil, and then like more people come through and watch the catalog. You never know.
Nice.
Which one you're very close to it. You just never know when that one is. It's like you got to keep buying the lotto tickets because the week you miss is the week you could have, and you never know when that's going to happen.
It's a good point.
You never know, so you got to just do.
Yeah.
Because it's the only effort, hard work, and enjoying what you do is the only metric to success.
100%.
You can throw cash at stuff if you want, but if you don't have those three, it's a waste of time.
Dude, I know people that are throwing cash at videos to go viral on YouTube. They have like 50,000 views, but like 13 likes. And you're like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, they're trying to cheat the system, man.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work. There's only one thing that works.
Yeah.
And that is...
original content.
Do people like it? Am I capturing that fireplace? On the new fireplace, which is the fucking phone.
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of so simple.
It is, right?
It's so simple.
It's
right?
you just got to do it. That's one thing that I realized from being sick is like not having the time to do it is like, because I'm always in fucking hospital. So like as soon as I get out, I'm like, let's go. It's like book 7 podcasts for the week. Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
And then I have enough to like keep me going for a couple of weeks where I'll put out like 2 or 3 a week.
Great.
Yeah.
And just keep at it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's the old saying is, especially in podcasting, how many episodes have you done?
You'll be 69.
That's fucking so many, man. That's awesome. The old saying is, if you get to 20 podcasts, you're in the top 5% of all podcasters ever.
Is that right?
Because so many people don't like see it out. So just by staying in the race, you are better than 95% of people that ever attempted.
Yeah.
And if you can just keep going, it's what's really important in life. I know we want to wrap up soon, but it's really important in life to do that. You gotta like climbing, man.
Yeah.
Right? Because you can pay for Everest if you want. Like you really can. Like if you got enough money, you can get it. You probably get it like some sort of plane, chopper situation, multiple things to the top of Everest.
Yeah.
But it's not worth it without the climb.
No.
And if you do something that you genuinely love, like this podcast, it really doesn't matter if you get to 2,000 and your listenership kind of peaked, and because you love it and it gives you purpose. And all you need is just one of those things to pop, and you just never know how your life can change.
I agree. 100%.
Just never know.
One of my favorite quotes ever is by Jim Rohn, who was Tony Robbins' mentor.
Oh, yeah?
And he says, you can't climb a smooth mountain. You can't.
That's great.
You need the rocks, you need the jaggers, you need the drops.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't climb a smooth mountain. So
That's nice.
Stop thinking that everything's going to be easy. It's not easy. When I first started this, when I was sitting on my couch in the last apartment and people walking in going, oh, so where's the studio? And I'm like, right fucking here.
Yeah, we're
let's
doing
go.
it.
Yeah.
And now look at it.
It's a fucking studio.
So what's the next thing that makes this thing look like the couch? It's so endless. It's so fun. It's so exciting.
We're going to get a compound, Jarryd.
I want to come back in the compound.
Oh, yeah.
Next time I come back, could we get high?
Oh, yes.
I will warn
You had things to do today. You already explained that. But I was going to get fucking high today.
I get so high.
You get so high?
I get so high.
I get so high.
I think of some real funny shit thing.
I love weed for that.
Can I test something out? The last thing I wrote when I was high, it's been like haunting me in my phone.
Let's
I
fucking
think
go.
It's funny, right?
Let's go.
All right. So people used to go to war, right? Do you know what happened after like a battle happened?
What?
You just fucking rape, right?
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know why it is, but all humans, no matter where they've like evolved, they haven't even had anything to do with each other. They have a battle and then they just sack the whole joint. Like it's something in us.
Yeah.
Like that's not a decision, it's an instinct, right? And I don't know why it exists. But after you blow your load, right?
You're both not.
You're kind of a bit ashamed. So there would have been like a whole bunch of like pretty crazy, like you'd blow your load, you're like, it's half a body. Like you're just like, oh shit. And like, cause everyone's drinking and stuff. Like the next day you wake it up, everyone's real sheepish. Like, dude, you were pretty crazy last night. You put like 4 hands on a spike. Like, I don't know. I was just got kind of carried away. And then all these people have got to go home, right? So they've been away for like 6 years. They come back. They don't even recognize their wife anymore and stuff. They just walk back into the field. And she's like, did you rape? And he's like, nah. I just had a couple of beers and went to bed early, right? She's like, I heard everyone got raped. He's like, nah, it wasn't me. Like, some of the boys were doing the rape. I wasn't doing the rape. She's like, I know you were raped. He's like, fine, but I was thinking of you. She's like, just in a river, washing some clothes, being like, I feel like there's something there.
Oh, dude, that's hilarious.
I don't know how to sell that to an audience that don't want to talk about medieval rape. But if I can figure it out, I think it'll be funny.
I have some insight. The urge to want to fuck comes from the hunt in prehistoric times.
Okay, good.
Right? So when you go out to hunt and you get like the kill, you come back and everyone celebrates. So there's like a tribal ritual, you dance around a fire and then you fuck.
Right.
Because everyone's full of sustenance now.
We can now. We've got the protein.
Yeah.
But obviously when you're away with the boys, you don't have the women.
Yeah, you
so
got the ration packs.
You're like, oh, well, I guess we'll do the whole town.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's it must be like a spreading of like DNA thing too. You know?
Right.
Like
especially the cut in half ones.
Like when a lion when a lion will like beat the other lion for like leadership of the whole thing. The first thing he does, so he's like, what are you going to do when you get into office? He's like, all right, my first policy, he's got two policies. One, he goes and roots every single fucking bird. The second thing he does is he goes and kills all the other kids. He just starts with a clean slate. Goes, fucking daddy's in town.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Get all of this fucking dirty DNA out of here, fucking.
You rotten scum.
Yeah. Sorry. I think there's something there.
There is something. That's a little egg there. You need to grow that bitch.
I just need one. I want really regular people just to be like, he didn't just say that they were having sex with half a body, and why am I laughing?
You kind of need to start it as like a completely different topic.
100%. You need to trick them into thinking that it's not what's happening.
Yeah.
I did this other joke that I've already got to that point, which I'm proud of. And this is the last thing I'll say before I get out of here. It's a good one to finish on too. But I say to the audience, I said, has anyone here ever heard of Joseph Fritzl? And some people have if they're into true crime. And I go, for those of you that don't know who Joseph Fritzl is, Joseph Fritzl was an Austrian guy who imprisoned his daughter in his basement for 27 years. I said he fathered 7 children to her, 4 of which he killed by throwing into a furnace. The audience is just like dead silence at this point. They're like, what is this cunt talking about? And I said, when the daughter finally escaped 27 years later, she went to the police. They arrested Joseph Fritzl, and then they threw him in prison. And then the police interviewed his wife, and she said that she had no idea what was going on the whole time. Silence. And I said, fuck, boys, where do you find a girl like that?
Doesn't ask any questions.
Said, I go straight down the pub, the missus is on the phone.
That's fucking brutal.
And the whole audience goes, oh my, fuck, he thought.
Yeah.
They think they're in a crime.
Yeah.
And then you let them go, and they're like, thanks.
Thank fuck for that. Jesus, bro, that's a rough one. I love that. That's great. So where can people find you, Jarryd?
At Jarryd Goundrey on everything.
On everything.
The internet's easy, man. You just put my name in anywhere, and like something will come up. Follow the lead. You've done it before. You've stalked. Go stalk it. Like I don't need to tell you how to. Like if I'm going to tell you how to do it, fucking catch up, motherfuckers. It's only going to speed up.
Well, you can catch Jarryd. Have you got any more shows in Perth at the moment?
No, I've got one on Karratha on Saturday, and then
Are you doing the international?
Grand Central.
Oh, very nice.
For the Comedy Central gig up there. And I'm back on, I'm going on 3 weeks of holidays, which I'm glad about. And then I'm going on an Australian tour as of August. So if you want to follow where that goes along, it's going to take 12 months, 52 locations, 100 shows. It's my first one ever.
Whoa.
And I'm really happy about it, but it takes a while to get around. So you just give us a follow and see where you're at. And if it comes by your way,
tickets on sale now?
They will be in 2 weeks' time, but jump on early on the socials because it's all going to come through there.
Fuck yes.
And send us a message if you like me or whatever. I'll talk to you.
Get in touch with him, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Jarryd, for coming down.
Thanks for having me, man.
That was awesome.
Take me home, I wanna know if you're down, ready to go. Wanna fly away with you, float